The initiation system that was brought to North America, the one that was able to, that our ancestors were able to preserve, it followed the rule of the sun. That's a profound peace and blessings. This is RauKhu. And in this video, I want to talk about self-initiation. And part of the reason I want to talk about this is mainly because I have two types of questions that are being posed to me. On one side of the fence, I got people who are asking, are you initiated, or who initiated you? On the other side of the fence, I got people asking, can you initiate me? So when I'm reading these questions, what comes to mind is that basically these people who are asking these questions, they have not read my blog posts, they have not read any of the books, and they're not watching the videos in its entirety. So that's part of the reason why I want to actually do this video, do a relatively short video explaining the importance or the purpose of self-initiation, as well as explain the difference between initiation and self-initiation. Okay. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, my ancestry, they were abducted, kidnapped, enslaved, and shipped to North America from the Congo and Golden region. When they arrived here on the shores of North America, they were practicing what most people refer to as Congo Christianity. Congo Christianity is basically, or it was basically, a syncretism between the Congo beliefs and Roman Catholicism. And for the most part, they practiced that in North America for at least 100 or so years. Now, it wasn't until the Second Great Awakening that a lot of the theology and the philosophy behind Congo Christianity was lost. And once it was lost, then basically, what ended up happening is that a lot of people end up focusing mostly on the magical aspect of it, instead of focusing on the religious and spiritual aspects of it. All right. So consequently, as a result of that, we ended up losing a lot of the initiation systems. Okay. So unlike the Africans who were taken to, Cuba, Brazil, Haiti, or the island of Hispaniola, taken throughout the Caribbean and South America, who were these individuals, these Africans, they had a formal initiation system. The initiation system that was brought to North America, the one that was able to, that our ancestors were able to preserve, it followed the rule of the sun. But like I said, that was lost due to the whole, the conversion process, and between the syncretism that ended up existing between, Congo Christianity and the Protestant Christianity that basically was introduced during the Second Great Awakening. Okay. So what is that initiation system? What was the initiation system that they used? Shout out to Orba de Jera for, introducing me to this initially. The initiation system, or the rule of the sun initiation system, it begins with, the king of the Congo. All right. And I'm also used the Kemetic terms along with the Kikongo terms, so you can get a better idea of how this syncretism actually occurred. When the individual was born, all right, when the individual is starting something new, they're starting a new process, they're starting a new project or whatever, okay, they are going through they're going through a sunrise. Their sun is basically rising. This is the Kala in the Kikongo. In the Kemetic terminology, it is Kapera, all right, or like I said, sunrise. When the individual, when they reach their zenith, when they're at their peak, at their height, their highest moment, or at their height, this is, in the Kemetic language, is the Ra moment, or in Kikongo, it is the Takula, all right, which is, like I said, it's the midday sun. When the individual basically, their sun declines, okay, their sun is dying, their sun is setting. When they're at this moment, all right, in the Kemetic language, it is called the RauKhu. In Kikongo, it is called the Luwumba, all right, and it refers to a death. It refers to a death. You know, this is not necessarily death, a physical death, but it refers to a spiritual death. In other words, meaning whenever an individual, they're experiencing grave loss, they're experiencing all kind of misfortunes, you know, obstacles, problems, all these things are associated with their sun is basically dying. All right. So when the individual experiences that, they go through that experience, and in order for them to recuperate from that, they have to be reborn. All right. In order for them to be reborn, it's like looking at the sun. The sun basically at the horizon, it has to go underwater. All right. It goes to, in the Kemetic language, this is called the Amen Ra moment. In Kikongo, it's called Musoni. All right. In English, we refer to it as the midnight sun, or, you know, it's basically the midnight moon, but we refer to it as the midnight sun. All right. It's going underwater in order for it to be reborn. And it is in this process of being reborn during the second great awakening. This is where we got this. This is where our ancestors, and you see the syncretism between baptism and the rebirthing period. All right. Now, due to that syncretism, that's where the loss of the theology and everything, that's where it takes place. And because of that loss, because of, you know, the loss of theology, a lot of this is basically, it's interpreted as being part of Christianity. So whenever we're experiencing these issues, whenever we're experiencing these misfortunes and all that, we've heard people say this. Oh, it's because you got to give your life to Jesus. You got to give your life to Christ. Okay. And you try that, as you saw in my previous video, you try that and it doesn't work. This is the reason why. Okay. Now, this is part of the reason why my ancestors and spirit guides basically was like, hey, you need to study the Kemetic theology in order to revive our culture tradition, in order to rescue it so that we can actually start using it and actually start spiritually growing. And this was the whole purpose of me. This is the whole purpose of this syncretism. This was the whole purpose of actually, doing the syncretism between the Kemetic and Congo tradition. All right. After I've gone ahead and I've gone through this and I've experienced this, now I can come back and I can say, I might not know it from the Congo, tradition, but from the Kemetic tradition, I know that when the sun is setting, all right, the sun basically, it is traveling from sunrise to sunset, all right, from Kapera moment to the RauKhu moment, or from Kala to Lovimba. When it's setting, all right, it is in the Taset region. The Taset is basically governed by, in the Kemetic tradition, governed by Set. All right. So when an individual sun is setting, it basically refers to the fact that what is it, or you should be asking the question, what impurity do you have that your soul has picked up? All right. What impurity do you have that has caused your sun to set? What, or another way of saying it from a Kemetic perspective, what is it that Set basically gouged your eye out with, gouged Haru's eye out with, in order for that sun to set, in order for you to, for you to fall? All right. And this was basically information, or this gives you a little bit more insight into your spiritual development by doing it this way. Okay. So in regards to the initiation and self-initiation, what this basically showed me is that initiation, for the most part, is a process in which someone is basically being put on the path. Okay, so for instance, using our ancestry in North America, when the people went ahead and they started converting to Christianity, and they're going through, they're getting baptized and everything, the baptism is a form of initiation. That's why so many of us, or so many of our ancestors, that's why they jumped to it. All right, so it's a form of initiation, and basically it put them on the path to learn about Christianity, to learn about that entire Protestant Christianity, the whole, all the I would say the doctrines and denominations. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, that's what the initiation was for. All right, self-initiation, on the other hand, is meant to put you on a path so that you chart a different course. All right, so the difference again between initiation and self-initiation. Self-initiation, when the individual is self-initiated, there is basically your ancestors and spirit guides they're surrounding you, they're helping you so that you chart a different path, you chart a different course, something that has not been done before. All right, that is going to help your ancestral line, it's going to help your family, it's going to help your your people. That's the whole point of it. Okay, so I'm putting this out here, and I want people to understand, I have no, for people who want to go through the formal initiation and everything, I have great respect for you. But at the same time, for those of us who are going through self-initiation, okay, understand what our path is, understand what our role is, understand there's no one who is around for the most part, who's going to teach you any of this, because you have to learn it through your ancestors and through your spirit guides. Okay, spirit guides and your ancestors. All right, so hopefully that helped you. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Hopefully that helps you to understand the purpose of self-initiation and why self-initiation is so important in this day and time, especially when it comes to actually dealing with, like I said, working with your spirit guides and your ancestors. All right. Yeah. Of course, if you got any questions or so, as I've stated before, hit me up, drop me a line. Thanks again for your support. Thanks for sharing. Had to pull.